Boom. Welcome to the next installation of the House 94 podcast. It's your boy, Carl B. We about to light it up today. Every week we try to bring, interesting and biting content. And whenever we have a topic we want to talk about, we think through our Rolodex. We say, man, of all of the people we know, we got to know an expert in this field of some sort. So we just kind of dial it up and bring them on. So Morehouse has no shortage of extremely talented brothers that pretty much command every industry. And once again, we got another one. Brother Damien Butler is here tonight. He's class of 95 and 94, 95 are real close at Morehouse for some reason. I don't know if we all was failing grades or whatever, but a lot of us got friends this tight at 95.
Straight up.
Like a lot of classes that don't necessarily know each other. So Damien is a credentialed sports management professional. He's got 20 plus years of experience negotiating and drafting complex agreements for professional athletes and other high net worth individuals, small businesses and corporations, but not limited to NFL franchises. It's Nike, Muscle Farm, FanDuel, and LVMH. Damien is also uniquely qualified marketing representative, adept in brand development strategy, engagement, and client relations. He's made some major deals with the likes of Michael Vick. I think I saw someone in the bio of some Kobe Bryant work that was in there. But to fill us in on what I might have left out in terms of your illustrious career thus far.
So basically, after Morehouse, went to law school. After law school, worked for a big firm out of Houston. We represented Charles Woodson, Orlando Pace, Ty Law. From there, I went on to work on the financial side of sports management. And then got a call one day and, met Michael Vick. And I came in-house to work on his team and run NB7 sports marketing. I negotiated all of Mike's endorsement deals while he was playing throughout his career, continued to work with him. Basically, just rebranded my company under CMV Sports to take advantage of, about when my oldest son, who's a college football player, was about 8, 9 years old, I started a mentoring program in the form of a youth football team. And, it just kind of grew as the kids got older and turned into a sports development institute when they were in high school, helped them with recruiting. And it just so happens now I've got about 30 kids playing Division I college football throughout the country. And with my background in sports management, I'm going to do everything I can to help them and others, not only have a long career in the sport in NFL, but prepare for life after football. That's what I'm really big about, teaching them financial instruments, setting up businesses and just being smart, with their career and with their money.
Well, actually, that brings up a question before we get into the other content. You just said something that was interesting about, helping NFL players their post-career life, right? And I always think about how it should be a real simple process when these brothers get these like huge contracts, like a $25 million signing bonus or whatever, to just like, and I'm no financial mind, right? I'm an insurance dude, as you know, so I don't know shit about finance, but it just seems like they could annuitize part of that and then just kind of like be set for life. Is it that simple, or just motherfuckers don't listen? Like, tell us a little bit about how that works.
Unfortunately, you don't see these kind of issues with the Peyton Mannings of the world and the John Elways of the world. You see it with, a lot of athletes that look like us. Now you have some exceptions. One of the clients of the firm I started out working for, Charles Woodson, he's one of the wealthiest players. A lot of people don't know this, wealthiest players to ever play in the NFL, but that's because he listened to his advisors. Quick story. 2000, I'm riding around with Wood, and he's like, "Let me show you this property I'm about to buy over here." Because he had moved to Atlanta once he got to the league, and he bought some of that property over there where that church was, where the dome is now sitting. He bought a plot of land adjacent to Arthur Blank's plot of land. He bought it for like $200,000 back in 2001, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he's a real astute businessman. Charles has a winery in Napa amongst all of his other off the field investments. He's got his own wine that he produces. And it was crazy because about 6 months ago, my boy, Oscar Joyner, Tom Joyner's son, he hit me up. He was like, because he's into real estate, and he's like, "We're trying to get him on this project, and we see that Wood owns this land. Can you set up a meeting?" I'm like, "Damn, Wood still owns that?" But we got on a call, man. Wood told them, like, look, I've had Arthur Blank come at me every year for the last 15 years, and I've refused to sell. And my price is basically 46 million or nothing.
Yes. Hold up.
Yes.
$200,000 investment right there under
46
right
million. Yes.
Jesus Christ.
And
so what's on there right now?
Does,
nothing?
Huh?
There's nothing on there right now?
No, he put up a parking lot, about 10 years ago. I mean, but you understand, he makes so much money. Like he's like, look, that's my price.
That.
Yeah.
Either you meet it, or I'll just keep making my bread, on this parking lot for the game.
Right.
So my point is, you have a lot of brothers that surround themselves with people that tell them what they want to hear, and are not interested in really educating them on how money works. And see, that's the key. You've got to understand that. You got to understand that I got $1 million. It's not really $1 million. I've got my taxes. I've got my agent fees. I've got to pay my accountant. You know what I'm saying? I've got my bills. So once you understand that concept mentally, then it fuels your actions. But if you never understand that, and you're constantly thinking, for every million I get, I got $1 million, then you go out and spend like you have $1 million.
Like, I'll make that back.
And then the next thing you know, I think the number was a few years ago, 85% of NFL players file for bankruptcy 2 years after they retire.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it's, I tell people all the time, a lot of these guys are no different than most Americans. They're living check to check.
Yeah.
That initial check is a lot more, but their expenses are a lot high. And then once those checks stop coming, a lot of these guys, a lot of these guys haven't really put themselves in a position to earn revenue after they're done playing, and they still have those same expenses. And, then you see, I'm broke.
Right.
And if you don't have the proper if you don't have the proper representation, throughout the process, then you can easily end up in that situation.
Damn, that's some scary shit, man.
A lot of folks don't understand that with when you take a 54-man roster, 52-man roster, or what have you, you only have about 12 players that have, $1 million contracts. And like you said before, those $1 million contracts is not really $1 million contracts.
Right.
So you have a lot. You've got less than a quarter of the team, not even that, who are actually making real money, but yet the rest of the team, the remainder of the team, is spending it, popping bottles like as if they are, making real money. So.
And even with that though, I mean, the league minimum right now, I think, is like $370. So I mean, it's not like they paying you 45 grand to go out there and beat your head in. I mean, you can make a good living. You just have to be smart, with how you're handling your money, and then make good investments. And a lot of these guys aren't doing that. And that's why they end up in the predicament that they're in. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's the people that look like us. So, that's one of the things that I'm trying to, put to the forefront with a lot of these young guys that I'm working with is you need to understand how money works. You need to understand financial instruments. Don't just say, oh, I got somebody handling, my money for me, and not understand what that process is.
But let me ask you this though: don't they have? And you may be familiar with this, being more closed in. When players are first drafted, or before they even, I don't know if it's right after they made the team, or maybe it's right when they've been drafted. I'm not sure, but isn't there a meeting with these players where they're financial advisors? Doesn't the NFLPA put together something where they have advisors and stuff coming to them and letting them know these things, or is that? So
here's the problem. A few years ago, the NFLPA started a program where, like, as an agent, I have to be certified with the NFLPA every year. So they started a program for that for financial advisors. My problem is that it's such a competitive business on both sides, on the agent side and the financial advisory side. You've got financial advisors, even the top ones, they're working with other athletes and they're putting them in deals that they put everybody else in. What I'm trying to tell these guys is, look, I don't want a financial advisor that all they're working with is athletes. I want a financial advisor that's working with CEOs, billionaires, and using that same financial strategy with them as they would that, C-suite level executive. Because that way they'll communicate with you in a different way than you can't have a situation where you can't tell your client the truth because you don't want to get fired.
Right.
And that's the situation that a lot of these guys are in. So like I said, they tell them what they want to hear, allow them to continually overspend, not budget, because they want to be able to hold on to, their assets under management. But if that number is not what it needs to be, you're not gonna make any money anyway. So you might as well tell the guy the truth, try to educate him, try to get him on budget. That way, he can accumulate assets for you to invest rather than, you got a couple of years or he's, got $10 million with you, but shit, after 2-3 years, he's out in the club every night, he's buying cars, whatever, that 10 million is down to nothing. So,
Jesus.
That's the situation that a lot of these guys find themselves is they don't really have people to tell them the truth. And then they have family members, that don't understand the concept of money either. So, you buy a mama a house and then auntie wants a car and big brother and sister and so on and so forth. And you don't have anybody in your team to say, look, no, I need to build my, financial foundation first. Then I can, obviously we're going to take care of mom, but everybody else, you just got to wait till I'm able to get my feet straight in the league, build up some assets, have revenue coming in from outside of football. And then, we can start talking about, helping everybody. And the key word that I use with all of these guys now is generational wealth. That's what we want. We want to build generational wealth. Yeah. And that's the focus.
Dang, do you find it difficult some of your clients, do you find it difficult to gain their trust? Or is it something like you tell them what it is and it's like...
when I first started, it was real hard because most professional Black athletes had a mindset of what my grandma used to call thinking white folks had colder ice.
Yeah.
So as a young Black professional, I had the Morehouse degree, law degree, did good work, but it was always like, well, I had a parent tell me, we really like you, Damien, you're real smart, but we think this white guy can talk to these other white guys better. This was early on in my career. Now I have to say that is changing. Carl B, the young man I was telling you about at the school, I was just at, his parents told me, like, look, his agent is going to be Black. So the mindset is definitely changing.
Yeah.
But early on, it was real hard because a lot of them, they come from lower class backgrounds. I've been in meetings with parents, they never even knew a Black person that graduated from college, let alone law school.
Right.
So they're looking at me like, can you really go in here and talk to these white folks on behalf of my son? And I was like, you're kidding me, right? But that was the mindset. And those white agents took advantage of that. But, the game is definitely changing. You've seen, a lot of Black agents do really good work. Even like with Mike Vick, when he came out of jail, everybody thought that, his ability they knew that he would get another chance on football. They never thought that he would get, endorsements. I actually did his first deal out of jail. It was a 7-figure deal with sports supplement company, Muscle Farm. And at the time, it was like, everybody was like, wow, I don't even know how you pulled that off. But, I knew that he still had value in the marketplace. And, Mike definitely kind of repented for everything that he did in extreme ways. So he was able to, and he was always really loved anyway. So it wasn't that hard. But, as I've done more and, obviously working with somebody like Vic and Des Bryant, Dwayne Wade, so on and so forth, it's been able to, a lot of guys look at me like, okay, if they trust you, then, I should too.
So what are your thoughts about on those endorsement deals, the mom and pop endorsement deals, as opposed to the commercial brand? As for your clients, how do they feel when you say, all right, here's an up and coming brand?
So Chuck, you talking about like a local car dealership versus like Nike, or what do you mean by?
No, I'm talking about you got a lot of brands that are really making
like Under Armour when they first came out, for example.
Yeah, like let's say for example, muscle milk.
Yeah,
Or something,
no, I know what you're talking about. You know
Gatorade.
what? That piggybacks on what we were talking about earlier in that. So probably around like 2010, 2011, you had a lot of startups coming into the marketplace. And, you know, I'm not going to use names just because I don't want to embarrass them, but I had a bunch of clients where these startups are coming at them saying, look, we want you to get involved. We can't pay you your normal asking price, but we can offer you equity. And the mindset at that time was, no, I want cash up front, Dame. You know, this is my number. Everybody else meets it. I need them to meet it. And it was hard to explain to them the value of equity and getting paid on the back end rather than the front end. Because, yeah, you got a high number on the front end, but your number on the back end could be crazy. And then you had people like Kobe Bryant, even 50 Cent, exploit that and make millions, sometimes, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. But a lot of the athletes didn't understand that concept until it was too late. So I know guys that could have gotten in on, you know, a lot of these major brands that you see were startups. I mean, these guys, they were offering like 5-10% equity in the company to get there. Yeah, because they knew they couldn't pay them, and it was turned down. Because when I first started with endorsements, everything was about the number of appearances you can make. You know, it was written in the contract. We need 10 appearances per year. We need signings, whatever. Now everything is social media. You know, what's your social media platforms looking like? What are your numbers? We need this many posts. You know, we need you to, you know, shout us out on Twitter or Instagram or in your stories. Everything is written out like that. But equity is a big piece. And I encourage everybody to go for if we can do a hybrid model of, you know, some cash up front and equity on the back end, or even all equity, if we're able to do our due diligence on the company and see that it's got a, you know, promising future. That's where I'm tending to try to push people now, because, you know, Nike, they don't pay anybody any real money. I mean, the basketball players, you know, the top 5, you know, LeBrons, you know, those guys, they make big money, but everybody else, especially in football, they're getting a payroll deal. So they'll give you like, okay, yeah, here's $200,000 worth of shopping on our site. Go buy all the Jordans you want. I mean, because Nike already has the NFL deal. Their logo is everybody's uniform. Like, we're not paying you niggas no money no more. So you got to find those startups, you know, that are looking, you know, to exploit your social media following to push their product and then get equity. And, you know, you pick the right ones, you can really come up.
I mean, I mean, look at it's kind of cool, like on the NBA teams, those how the NBA team has tech companies or like e-commerce companies on their jerseys now.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, those guys, Draymond Green, those guys have made a lot of money, you know, off the court, you know, getting involved in venture capital startups, you know, so on and so forth, angel investing. They've linked themselves with some real good VC people and putting them in some really good deals. And those guys have made a killing. Kobe was doing the same thing too before he passed away. Kobe was making a lot of money away from the court. You know, obviously, you know, Bron is too. But the guys that are able to get with the right people in that industry and then use their celebrity to kind of put them in those deals early and allow these companies to exploit their social media following, that's where it's at. I mean, the Nike deals and unfortunately, they think that that's the way to go. But once they get up there and they realize, you know, oh, they're not going to pay me any real money. Oh, I'm not going to get a signature shoe. No, not unless you know, a superstar. You know.
Motherfucker, no.
You got third round picks talking about, you know, how much am I gonna get $1 million Nike deal? Like, no, man. You gotta, you know, especially in football.
You know, when you're looking at the NBA,
that's interesting.
The NBA though, the contracts in the NBA are so damn ridiculous. Folks are like,
that's a whole different bag. Yeah.
Why can't you get guaranteed contracts in the NFL like you can in the NBA though?
I think that's the easy one.
Yeah. Too many players.
Expendability.
Numbers. Now, some guys do have guaranteed deals. Like, you know, Kyler Murray, his 4-year deal with the Cardinals is guaranteed, I think, at about $39 million. and he'll renegotiate that after 3 years, especially how well he's playing. He'll be at 150 in a couple of years. I think large portions are you just got to play. But in NFL, you understand, you got a 53-man roster. You got your practice squad guys. It's just too much money to guarantee. Now, your top, 2 to 5% of the league, most of their deals are guaranteed, maybe a higher percentage. And you got certain portions of the contracts guaranteed, but it'll never be like the NBA. It's just too many players on the roster, and that injury risk is real high.
Yeah, they're too expendable. So
right.
Let me ask you this though. You had mentioned before, I, as a Black professional, as an attorney as well, I know all too well about that white ice being colder. With the whole movement,
you've actually used that before on the show.
What'd you say?
You've actually used that on the show before.
Oh Lord, here we go. So with that being said, with the movement, whether it be the protests that have gone on and everybody's kind of pushing forward, have you seen? Is there a transition that's real with respect to moving toward Black professional agents, financial management, financial advisors, consultants, what have you?
I think so. Honestly, I was real shocked at the players speaking out the way that they did, from the professional level all the way down to the college and high school ranks. You got to understand, in the past, these guys were so scared to say anything. Right. Because, these leagues have in their mind that their target demographic in this country is basically that whole Trump MAGA crowd.
The MAGA crowd.
They've tried to, play to them, and, tell a lot of stuff was going on behind the scenes, telling guys not to say anything. And then, kids were just scared, that they were going to lose their scholarship. That they weren't going to have a shot to get to the league if they expressed themselves. And I think the George Floyd killing just kind of, sparked something in a lot of these kids where they took a stand. And, a lot of those kids put a lot on the line that they wouldn't have done in the past. And NBA guys too. And I think when you have somebody like LeBron James stepping out there the way he does, and he gives a lot of cover to a lot of the pro guys to do it. And in turn, those pro guys give these college guys the confidence to do it themselves. And that's the group that really impressed me. You had a lot of college players stepping out there, walking out of practice, trying to come together to form coalitions to get, greater student rights for Black students. It was real big. And in the past, that would have never happened. So I think that there is a turning point. And I think that will carry over into the want of representation in all various different forms of people that look like them. Because one of the things that I say, and when I meet with players and parents, is you want somebody that understands the community that you come from. Because as I spoke about earlier, generational wealth, we want to build that, but we also want to reinvest in our communities, whether it be through real estate or businesses to build those communities. There's nothing like being able to go back to where you're from, reinvest, where it's a situation where you're earning revenue, but you're also uplifting your community. And a lot of people, at these larger white firms, they don't understand that.
Right. I've been trying to tell these guys that all throughout the whole pandemic, man. They don't.
All right. So Damien, with that said, what are your thoughts about encouraging the kids, these quote unquote sought after players, athletes, encouraging them to go to HBCUs?
Yeah, we about to have a whole fucking episode now.
As an HBCU grad,
I just want to know your thoughts.
I love Morehouse. I think it would be great, but before that happens, the HBCUs need to step up their game in terms of making themselves attractive to these players in the form of the services that they offer.
Gotcha.
Now, obviously, facilities are huge, and that would be great. But even if you started with, when you go and like I said, I've been through the recruiting process with my oldest son. I probably went on visits to 25 Power 5 programs with him. We went to a couple of HBCUs, and even if I take away the locker rooms, the weight rooms, the stadiums, all of these programs, their academic advisory services are crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, the number of tutors that they have available for them, the resources they have available to them to be great students is off the charts. Mm-hmm. And they don't even have that at the HBCUs. I mean, so like I said,
my schools just tell you to just go to class.
Yeah, and that's not even talking about facilities. So if you want to compete with these PWIs, then you've got to have a concerted effort to invest in these programs. And I think it makes sense because you look at programs like University of Texas. I mean, they're bringing in like $110 million a year. It's just the mindset has got to change. I mean, I represented the last player drafted out of Morehouse. You know, we went back. Actually, you know, not this homecoming 2 years ago, me and him went into the AD's office and like, look, man, you got this kid. He graduated from Morehouse. He got drafted in the 5th round to the Ravens. He won a Super Bowl ring. He was starting the year they went to the Super Bowl. And y'all don't involve him in anything going on with the football team. You don't use him in recruiting. Mm. I mean, Morehouse football team, you've got, you know, my son, Eddie Wingfield's son, Charles Elliott's son. I mean, I know at least 10 Morehouse grads that have sons playing college football that never even got an offer from Morehouse. Mm. You know, and I'm talking about, you know, Lester Ben's son is a starting safety at Yale. I mean, you got it's a really bad mindset where I feel like if somebody got in there and actually was dedicated to building the program, like Morehouse could definitely compete. Like Morehouse could get to the SWAC, which is D1, and compete. And, you know, if it ever got the dollars behind it, I mean, I think that they could eventually one day move to the FBS ranks, because you imagine bringing recruits in homecoming weekend, you know?
Oh, man. I would love to see that day.
You had a killer stadium. You had nice facilities. You had the Morehouse mystique, everything that goes with that. And you were playing at a high level. I mean, nobody would be able to match that.
What's so ironic about that, my folks are from Texas too, outside of Houston, and Prairie View was like the most losingest football program in the nation. Right. I mean, they had one football game.
It's in Waller, Texas. What the fuck, man? It's in Waller, Texas.
Well, I'm just saying. My point is that they have done all that after becoming like basically coming from the bottom of the basement in the SWAC.
Right.
You know, which is
that proves that it can be done.
It can be done.
Be done.
Hey, Damien, I was going to ask, hasn't there been a model set though now when we look at schools like Ohio State and Michigan or Notre Dame, where they had those TV deals? I mean, really, whether you're talking college ball or NFL, it's all the TV revenue that really sparks the money to feed into those programs. So like a school like Notre Dame, where I think they still had that contract with NBC, they're getting $100 million a year. I know it's distributed amongst the schools, but that has to feed into the program.
Like the SEC teams, they get like $80 million a year from the SEC network. But that's why I said, build up the SWAC. You have FAM and I think Bethune-Cookman moving into the SWAC next season. Build up the SWAC. Why can't Morehouse get into the SWAC and then?
Hold on, dog. Hold on. I just thought of some shit. We need to create the nigger Ivy League. You know what I'm saying? We need to do Morehouse, Howard, Hampton, like all the fucking elite black colleges. We need to put a fucking league together and then compete with the fucking SWAC.
You're an elitist, man.
Yeah. Well, my thing was if you build up the SWAC, right?
Yeah.
You got, I don't know how many teams are in the SWAC right now, but let's say
it's like an East and West, like the SEC.
Yeah.
And okay.
You package the deal to ESPN initially. I mean, because I had thought through this whole thing through, and you do like, look, we're doing Black College Game Day Live. Imagine like what they do with College Football Game Live, but you did it every year. You start off the season at the Atlanta Classic with FAMU and Southern.
FAMU and TSU.
Yeah, and then I mean, you're literally doing college game day, but from homecoming or classics every other week. You know, you did maybe like Morehouse homecoming, Howard homecoming. Yeah. You bringing people to perform. You have some old, you know, some retired NFL players hosting this set, and you going out there interviewing people. You got cameras in the crowd at homecoming, and then you showing the game with the bands. I mean, that's good TV. You know, you start small. You get to the point where you can give like each school like $3 million, and then just build from there.
Dog, hold on. Real talk. I think we got the fucking capability within, just like what Vern Perry said in the 94 meetings. Vern Perry said, look here, within this room, whatever we need to get done, no matter what the fuck it is, we can do it right here, right? We got the capability to pull some shit like that off. We know around the Morehouse Nation, we know motherfuckers that can put us in them fucking rooms, man, and have these conversations. You know what I'm saying? They're like, this shit is like, this ain't where I thought we was going with this conversation, but this shit is great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've thought about this because I mean, look, my son would love to go to HBCU.
And I'm going to go in reverse because what we had just talked about in terms of NFL guys, we talked about how the NFL guys don't make a lot of money, and we were talking about how they couldn't necessarily protest because they live check to check. The Broncos this past week had every one of their quarterbacks out of the fucking game because of COVID exposure, either a COVID positive test or COVID exposure, contact tracing. And even with all of that, they decided to not even reach out to my man Colin Kaepernick, who had to be better than a dude who was sacking groceries last week. And they pulled off, I don't even know if he came from the practice squad, but they pulled this dude who was a wide receiver out to be their quarterback. And it was an absolutely abysmal showing. Now, I applaud the brother. He did the best he could do. But I guess my fucking question is, I'm going to pose around the horn. Dude, what is wrong with Colin Kaepernick? He can't get a fucking sniff, even in the most dire of situations. What in the hell?
Dog, come on, man. First of all, that had nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick. They had an article about that, and he didn't even have time to pass the COVID protocols. So, because you remember,
you about COVID protocols? You need 2 weeks to quarantine before you come in.
The protocols put in place. There was an article about that actually, about why not call up Colin Kaepernick, and because of the NFL protocols, he wasn't able to. They didn't have enough time to actually get him in place. But more to your question, why hasn't he been called up? Because I think that's what your true question is. Why hasn't he been called up?
That's a true question. What's wrong with him, man?
Yeah, and and I told you guys my thoughts on that is, I think that he has not, given the fact that he had was given an opportunity to try out, and he kind of changed the whole deal where, they told him we're going to have a tryout, I believe at Falcon Stadium or somewhere, and he changed it up to a high school place.
He probably went to Duluth High School.
Yeah, to a high school. I mean, there was an opportunity there, but that ordeal right there kind of just showed me that he just wanted to do what he wanted to do, and I'm fine with that. He didn't want to. He was like, I think he's pretty much like, fuck the NFL at this point. And I personally don't think he wants to play, and given what Dame said earlier was, folks are kind of scared of rattling shoes and saying something. I don't think he cares anymore. And I think that situation kind of showed it. He was like, you come on my terms. I want to go have my tryout over in the high school 60 miles away. And if you can't do it, whatever, I'll do the high school tryout anyway. And he knew nobody's going to show up the way he was doing it. So I just don't think he cares. That's my deal.
Let's hear from the insider.
Well, so basically, the whole thing with the tryout, I'm going to address that part first, is you got to understand that these owners, they're all billionaires, and they're not used to losing. And Kaepernick has beat them in not only the court system, but also the court of public opinion, so to speak. And because what happened was they asked him to sign a waiver at the last minute. Now, you all know about waivers. They're basically done to absolve the facility, whoever's putting on anybody who has any attachment to what's going on, absolving them of any liability should you get hurt in what you're doing. They tried to slide in a phrase in the waiver saying that he could not sue them anymore on issues completely unrelated to that workout. This was going back to his initial case of collusion. And they tried to put in that waiver a phrase basically absolving, taking away his right to pursue further lawsuits against the league for collusion, which they had already settled. But he also had the opportunity to refile that lawsuit should the collusion continue. So that's why he didn't sign the waiver and move to work out somewhere else, because he wanted to take control of it. But yeah, Colin is very empowered right now. I mean, he's getting, not only did he get his NFL settlement, he's getting 7 figures from Nike for what he does with them. If you notice, anytime he puts something in the marketplace for Nike, that shit is sold out in less than 5 minutes. So he's definitely empowered, but he wants to play. I think over the last 6 months has shown that he's not going to get a shot just because, these guys, they're very ego driven. And
you mean the owners?
Yeah, they're not going to commit.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because we've seen NFL owners pick up fucking literal murderers, rapists. Goddamn, I mean, NFL owners are super craven individuals. They'll play any goddamn body.
That's charity.
Huh?
That's charity.
Yeah, it's charity.
No. What I'm saying is, they will sign any motherfucker that can help them win.
But they won't sign a strong black man who stands up for his shit.
No, dog, I gotta think that there's gotta be something inherently wrong with their brother that they won't sign him, because NFL owners ain't got no fucking chance.
No. They are so, what we talked about earlier, that MAGA influence, they feel as though
they can't put his ass out there.
They'll lose a large percentage of their fan base, which is not true though. But you got to understand, you've got most NFL owners contributed 7 figures to Trump's inauguration back in 2016.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Johnson, the boy from the Jets, was the chair of the fucking shit.
Right. I mean, those guys are big time Trump supporters. That's why we need some black ownership in the NFL, because across the board, I would say 95% of the NFL owners, GMs, are Trump supporters. They're MAGA themselves. Right. So they're bringing they're like, we don't want this in the league. Empowered black man.
They don't want a dude that's talking shit and throwing the finger at them. And then what about that is that the NFL owners have to vote you in. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The only progressive NFL owner that I know of that's even slightly progressive is the guy from Jacksonville.
But I think you said, Damien, something that's interesting though, which gets back to their egos, man. And I don't think a lot of people view that the NFL owners feel beaten when, in fact, like you said, I mean, he really did beat them. You know what I mean? With the settlements and the fact that he's still empowered to have a voice and stay out there.
You understand? NFL never settles.
Right.
Never.
Never.
And they settled that because
right.
had the receipts that he had come out, they'd have been in trouble.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. They'd have been
not only that, you got public opinion going against them as well.
I don't even think the NFL settled with the dudes where they put that little dudes. It was getting all those concussions, and they had the concussion case. They settled,
but it was something real minuscule. I mean,
but I think what we're saying gets back to why he's not in the league, because again, he did take the settlement. And those guys are going to allow him to come back in the league. They'll put up every roadblock there is to prevent him from getting back in the league.
I mean, the ego of a billionaire is out of this world. I mean, if you ever sit down in a conversation with a billionaire, they talk different.
Shit, I'm sure, because a billion is a whole different place from a million.
Never had that opportunity myself.
Yeah, I can't say that.
No, I'll tell you, I've been in some negotiations where they put the owner on the line. They talk different. Yeah. Let me just tell you that, and they're not used to being told no, and it's a different mentality. And when you have this black man that's basically came out here, told you about yourself, beating you in court, made you settle, you've tried to, hold him down, and he seems to even just risen in popularity. He's aligned with one of your biggest. You understand, Nike is the NFL's biggest sponsor, and they have a deal with Colin Kaepernick in place. And anytime he puts something out, and he's shitting on the NFL in one of his little videos, a lot of times that's a Nike video.
Yeah.
So I mean, their egos are hurt. Yeah, they're like, we're not about to give you a platform to continue shitting on us, because he's shown, because he's had opportunities, but they've said, like, look, all the talk and negative talk about the league and everything else, that's got to stop. And he was like, no,
that's what I'm saying, and that's what I love about him, because he's like, no, fuck it, because he knows he could, if he just shut up, possibly he could be back in the league. But he's the
Broncos tried to bring him in a couple of years ago. Yeah, they did. But Elway was like, look, we need you to kind of stay out of all that other stuff and just play football. And he was like, no, this is what I do. Now I can do both. Mm-hmm. So they know that if they sign him, he may not kneel, but he's going to keep talking his shit. And they don't want to hear it. Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. It goes back to back in the day, run, nigga, run. We don't want to hear
run, nigga, run.
Yeah.
$1 million slave. Ain't nothing but $1 million.
Hey, wait, for the story. Wait, I got a quick for the story. Well, first of all, I'll say glad he got his bag, so that's good shit. But a good friend of mine who is a purveyor of Caucasian women, almost exclusively, another one of my Morehouse brothers from '95. I'll leave him nameless, but if he's watching, he knows who he is. He said he was at Thanksgiving with one of his white brides, a few years ago. And he said that the funny shit was they say run, nigga, run during the Cowboys game. They were like Cowboys fans watching Thanksgiving. He said they was at somebody run, nigga, run. He was like, like he didn't really know what to do. But I'm like, damn, you fucking their daughter, bro. It's all good. You win it. You know what I'm saying?
They said that shit right in front of him like it wasn't shit.
Dude, I'm sorry. I was just at the Bama game, and the little white boys, they run around, Roll Tide, and everybody's. I mean, for some reason, when I hear Roll Tide with that country southern accent, I'm waiting for nigga to come out at it. I'm like looking at them.
Oh yeah. Honestly, dude, I don't know how. Well, I mean, you in Dallas, so Dallas is a progressive area, and being in Atlanta, that's progressive. But dude, I don't know how motherfuckers live in a red state, man. I'm up here in Wakanda. Shit is cool up here, man. Everywhere I go, I'm welcome and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Chicago about as segregated as any other goddamn place. Think what you talking about?
But I like that. You know what I'm saying? Wakanda's segregated. I'm over here chilling. You know what I'm saying? I fucking love it. Right?
That place is segregated. That is true.
That is the most segregated city outside of.
And I'm in my little enclave by the lake, and I have no complaints. Thank you very much.
The penthouse overlooking the lake.
Not quite a penthouse. We call it the LeBron Bennett estate. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. LeBron Bennett. So around the horn, quick question for everyone: should Cap be full-fledged activist or still pursue his career in the NFL?
Man, have your bag, fuck your hoes, and chill, man.
We got that new series on his life that Ava DuVernay is producing. That's going to be on Netflix.
Yeah.
So Kaepernick is making his money.
Okay, yeah, no doubt.
I said that on Netflix coming out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Netflix. Like I said, David DuVernay is involved in it, and they're starting to cast people. So yeah, Kaepernick is getting the bag, and he's gonna continue to. So he's all right.
Yeah,
and he's gonna go down like Muhammad Ali.
Yep. Whether you like him or not, he's gonna go out just like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. So that's what's up. And Ava DuVernay has money, so that's good shit. He's connected with her. Okay, so Saturday night, we had the Tyson Jones affair. So wait, what are we doing first? We gonna do Nate Robinson, or we gonna do Tyson Jones? What
we gotta do Nate, Snoop.
Let's get the fun shit out the way.
Oh my god, I forgot about this shit. First of all, kudos whoever came up with Snoop Dogg is a commentary, and they gave him the carte blanche, like, do you commentary. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I like the fact they put in the reasonable profanity, like it was conversational profanity, which is fine. Mm-hmm. And when that motherfucker, when Nate Robinson, he fought this. If you didn't watch it, it was a YouTuber, this white dude that brained Nate Robinson and knocked his ass out and made him a new. Because the Jordan meme now has company, right? Because you got the Shannon Sharp meme with the Jordan meme, and you got the R. Kelly meme, and now you got the fucking Nate Robinson joint. Because I've seen several versions of it, but the motherfucker got unceremoniously knocked unconscious during the fight, and then when that motherfucker got knocked out on one of the times, Snoop Dogg sang "Precious Lord." Take my
Oh Lord, Jesus Christ!
Shake that off, cousin. Shake that off, cuz.
He started singing that old Negro song.
Oh, that was the funniest shit.
It was cracking up.
He started singing "Precious Lord," dude. And you know what? It was just like if we was all watching the shit together, right? You know what I'm saying? Obviously post-COVID because we socially distancing and shit. Dog, somebody might have said this shit. We would have just died laughing. Snoop was like your homeboy.
Yeah. Snoop was like on the couch in the basement.
I mean, we can take it around horror, man, but like the best comment I got was you play football, you play basketball, you play baseball. You do not play boxing.
No.
Don't play boxing.
God damn. But it
that white boy, he was trying to get in the ring with Mayweather previously. They were trying to set up, he was trying to set up a fight with Mayweather.
Yeah.
I thought that was the other white boy.
That wasn't going to happen.
I thought that was Logan Paul.
Oh, that was the other one? That was his brother?
Yeah, that's the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They both, him and his brother both box.
Okay.
Or didn't neither one of them
start their boxing career.
Didn't neither one of them.
I think it's a good concept because imagine, they want to set up another one where you have Mike fight, let's say Holyfield, and you have.
So wait. Okay. So wait. We covered Nate. Let's go back to Mike. So you saying you like the concept of Mike and Roy Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole concept, that whole fight situation was great.
I
don't never want to see that shit again, man.
I think here's the reason why. You get we're talking about the concept and the whole marketing of that fight. You could throw in two rappers fighting. Like they were trying to put together once upon a time, Chris Brown and Soulja Boy. They were trying to
that'd be like two chicks fighting, bro.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Thinking about the concept of selling and how many people will tune in.
I get that, Chuck. The concept, what I think Dane was about to say was, if you had Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, I might keen to watch that just because those are two greats. But I didn't like the concept of two old ass men boxing. I just didn't like it. But I think as far as if they're raising money for a cause, I think that might do well. You know what I'm saying? But
but think about it. There's so few like fights. You know, back in the day, the Mayweather fight pay-per-view, everybody get excited, whatever. Like a lot of that is missing.
Yeah,
there was a fight every quarter back in the day.
Yeah, as crazy as it was.
They have a lot of
fight parties for the Mike Tyson Roy Jones thing, and it brings back that excitement of okay, let's see what's gonna happen. So now that you've got the precedent, if you can get Mike out there with somebody, we're really gonna box, and let's say you brought the white boy that just knocked out Nate, he's got a little following. You put him in against somebody, whoever you want. The anticipation of saying, okay, let's see what this white boy is gonna do now. And you got Mike coming in later on against a Holyfield or
let that motherfucker fight Terry Crawford and see what happened to his ass.
Have you seen Holyfield? Did you see him training?
Holyfield don't look good?
Nah, man, he's slow as fuck.
Oh,
Holyfield
is slow.
Yeah.
Well, he can't do
hold
worse
on,
than Roy Jones.
Holyfield, hold on. He talks slow?
No.
He fights slow.
He
definitely talks slow.
No, he moves slow.
Well, he should. The motherfucker.
He's throwing punches. He look geriatric, man. That shit was
dude.
And they got 9 kids. I'm gonna say this: when Mike was walking to the ring, right? Because we've seen these clips of Mike on YouTube, and the nigga looked like I'm sorry, James. Mike looked like he's 25 years old in them clips. Like he got the jabs, the drop step, and all that. Man, walked to that ring, his legs look like my legs, dog. His legs look flabby as shit. I was like, this man is 54 years old for real. He did not look great. And
Mike was
he
trying to
didn't get
box.
winded.
Roy was the one that was putting the clamp on.
He looked good in the ring. Roy was exhausted.
On.
Yeah,
he was holding on like a bitch.
All that is relative, man. They both sucked in the ring. Tyson looked better, but come on,
Tyson
man.
does look better.
I don't want to see that shit.
Deontay Wilder, sorry ass would have knocked you one of them up.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, I mean, like, now, I'm not gonna have an argument. I'm not gonna have an argument over who looked better at 55 years old. Like, it's what it is.
They both sucked.
They both.
Hang on.
But shit, we don't got no fights.
That's where I disagree. I think there are a lot of fights up in
name the heavyweight champion of the world right now.
Huh?
I think Tyson to take Wilder.
Tyson Fury.
Man, get the fuck out of here.
I think Tyson
all the
take
champions
Wilder.
of weight classes right now, like we used to be able to back in the days. Can you name? Give me 3.
Hey, hold on one second. Chelsea, we gotta give Chuck. Chuck, hold on, man. I'm talking to Chelsea. We got to give Chuck some kind of you got to light up his box or some shit because Chuck comes with the best lines ever. Because you're right. Back in the day, we knew every champion in every weight class: welterweight, heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight. All when Camacho was fighting, all that shit. We knew all them motherfuckers.
I don't know that no more.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but
we don't know any of that shit.
Realize there are a lot of up and coming boxers that are, unfortunately, they're like these generation wires. Whatever you call these new motherfuckers now who are like 21, 22 years old, Gerald Spence's, all these dudes, Diaz, all these folks that are fighting, but they're out of our generation, so we don't know them. So we're like, because we look at them like, who are these fuckers that are coming up? But there are some nice boxers that are out there. But the thing is, the heavyweight class isn't what it was when we were growing up. You don't have that anymore.
Crump, hold on. If they had a fucking welterweight championship fight, right? I don't give a fuck who was in it. I would watch that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or a middleweight championship fight, or cruise, any of those weight classes that we love, that we know. I would watch that shit. They not doing that no more. HBO ain't had a fucking legit fight in 2 years.
Boxers that's generating that kind of publicity. I mean, Mayweather was the last one.
Exactly.
He had the redhead Mexican. What's the redhead boy's name?
Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo. Yeah. He had Triple G.
Triple X.
Yeah, Triple G. This was a fight again. They didn't fight. It's like.
I mean, I'm talking about fights where everybody's like, okay, you get in a fight. Everybody is hyped to see the fight.
Yeah. No, I mean, you don't have that class anymore. Like, you just don't have, it's not, because with UFC kind of taking away some of boxing's vibe too, you just don't have the heavyweight, especially the heavyweights, like you used to,
Well, the last thing I'll say about this fucking Tyson Jones shit, I didn't know it was a 2-minute round situation until I bought the shit. They were showing it. The 2-minute round was bullshit to me because of the 2-minute rounds, it takes about a minute and a half for a boxer to fill out his opponent in a round. And that's when the motherfucker that's pressing action really starts to get into his fucking opponent. And with the 2-minute round, Roy was able to hold on for them that minute and a half, run for the other 30 seconds, and then throw a couple bitch ass jabs and get out of there. If he had 3-minute rounds, Mike would have knocked them motherfucker clean out. And that's what I was looking forward to seeing. Even though they was old man, I wouldn't mind seeing old man get knocked out.
Yeah, but it was billed as entertainment versus true boxing. So you got to put it in that context.
All boxing is entertainment, brother. It's all entertainment. You go there,
but
the touchdown is to see a motherfucker get knocked out.
Celebrity boxing, that's what I'm talking about. That's basically what paid for.
Exhibition, right?
I mean, overall, I would say this. Overall, the commentary, the Nate getting knocked out, I was entertained. I enjoyed it.
The undercard was good. You're right. But,
the undercards were real good, actually.
Yeah,
hell yeah, man. It was a good fucking deal.
I enjoyed it.
And Comcast fucked up the HD feed, so I'm gonna actually get the shit free. So they're gonna refund my damn money. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They had my box fucked up for 2 days. Anyway, hey man, I think we got a fucking good one in the box today. You know what I'm saying? Look like we killed it. What? Trump, go ahead.
Nah. I'm just gonna say, man, y'all been hating me on Kaepernick. I think that dude is a true American hero, a true Black American hero, baby.
I'm glad he got his bag. Well, look, hey, Dr. Butler, brother, we appreciate you coming on today. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate y'all having me.
Hey, good
man,
job.
Look here. No, it was fucking excellent, man. And it's just like when you go to homecoming and you think you fucking doing it, and you run up with one of your classmates. It's like, oh, maybe I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like harder. We just take this as motivation. You know what I'm saying? So it's good shit, man. To have you out and just to continue to show how the magnificent brothers at Morehouse presents out here, man. Because like I said, I reached out to Dog this morning and was like, "Hey, can you get on tonight?" He's like, "Yeah." So this wasn't no scripted out shit. This was light scare with action, baby.
I'm literally walking in the house from the airport. So when I was in the A, when you called me, I flew into Dallas, literally came into my office and set up. So like I said, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to good brothers all the time, man.
All right, pimps, thehouse94.com. You know what I'm saying? The House Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, IG, Twitter, all of that. Come on, give us your content. I mean, we're going to give you the content. You give us your feedback. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you like and what you don't like. And tell us how much you love us, because I know you do. It's good stuff. And like we said before, we don't get our feelings hurt. We all well-accomplished, extremely successful people. So if you don't like some shit, let us know. We might even listen to you and change it. Anyway, we'll see you next week with more biting content. And thanks for coming out. We out. All right.
Donate Tuesday, people.
Dig that.